I was never expecting it. Everywhere we went, there was just so much excitement. We went to about 8, 9 different schools, and the kids were just so excited. And there was a party back in Connemara the other night, and there was over 1,000 people that showed up at the party. We had another party over in Connemara the night before, about 500 people. So two of them, between the 2 nights, over 1,500 people came. Just so much excitement, so many pictures. I don't think I've ever taken so many pictures in my life. But it was good. You know, there was a lot of business piece of it too, and that was very good. We got a chance to go to Primark in Dublin the other day, Sunday, and Primark's moving to Boston, and get a chance to see their company. And then obviously here in Shannon and the links, there's a lot of interest in how do we create more direct links to Boston, and we're going to try and do that.
And from a business perspective, do you see, now that you've come back and got a sense of how things are here, do you see that this is an economy that's starting to move again, and synergies with your side?
Yeah, I definitely see Ireland as an economy that's moving again, and I think there's a lot of opportunity, not just for Ireland from Boston, but I think there's a lot of opportunity for Boston from Ireland. I think there's a fair amount of startup companies and startup areas that are in the country, and we made a lot of connections there. And hopefully, as companies look to expand in America, their first stop is Boston. And you know, we laid a little groundwork for that now, and hopefully, we'll see what happens.
And what do we need to do, let's say, here in this region with Shannon and indeed as the airport, in terms of you know, strengthening the links and growing them?
Well, I think it's the same thing we have to do in Boston. You know, in some ways, about tourism and getting people into the country, and same for us in Boston, getting people into the city of Boston, because you never know who's coming. I mean, the visitors on holiday, but there could be somebody who owns a company or is part of a bigger company, and that experience they get in Boston or here in Ireland, their first experience is through the airport. And that's why in Boston we put a lot of emphasis on Logan Airport. Tom Glenn does an awful lot of work over there at Massport. And here, today, same thing here in Shannon. That's the first experience people have when they come to the country. So we have to make sure they're strong, and then just go from there.
One of our best-known publications here, in writing about your arrival, they wrote that you're, and I'm not sure whether you heard this or not or read this, but you are the classic retelling of the American dream, the son of humble immigrants who has risen to the top of political life in one of America's greatest cities. Does that resonate with you? Does that make you proud?
No, it made me proud this whole trip, thinking, you know, the whole time I was here, back in Rossmuck where my mother is from, and Carno where my father is from, and, you know, seeing a lot of pride on a lot of people's faces who, they were just very proud and they were very happy. And I think that that's where a lot of the excitement, particularly in Connemara, came from, and maybe Galway City. And then when you go around the other places, you know, to the business leaders and stuff, and even up in Belfast and Derry, you know, there was a good sense of pride up there as well. And you know, those cities are working hard to really, you know, change what's happened in the past, and trying to bring more business opportunity and more employment. So you can see it throughout all of Ireland. There's a lot of pride.
How important is the connectivity, and within that, let's say for Shannon, the pre-clearance facility?
Oh, it's so important. I mean, it just kind of, you know, you want to make somebody's travel experience very, very, very enjoyable, and I think that that's where a lot of people might get frustrated when they don't get that they think they're waiting for a long time, and it's hard to do because of safety and security, but it's also, as much you can do, the better it is.
In terms of as you leave, you know, what do you say, you know, about Ireland now? What are you taking with you? I suppose your strongest memory.
For me, this trip to Ireland was a lot different in the sense of I spent a lot more time talking to the business leaders and community, and I had a lot more conversations with the government, different government, and that's a lot different than any trip I've ever had here. You know, I've learned a little bit about politics over the years of Ireland, and knew a little bit about business. But this trip really was focused on, you know, as much as I enjoyed the family, this trip was really focused on the business connections and the government connections, and, you know, making connections with other mayors from other cities here in Ireland. And that's important because in America, you know, there's a lot is built on the relations of other mayors, mayor to mayor. And I think by having those connections certainly is important. So I've learned a lot more about the economy, but more particularly the business community here in this country.
I mean, we're firm believers in networking here in Ireland. I mean, is that something that you take back from this as well, that it was meeting the people, that there are potential opportunities from these connections that you've made?
Oh, there's no question about it. I mean, there's a factory back in Rossmuck that small IT factory, and the woman who runs it, she came up to me and she gave me her card, and she wants to look to explore Boston. And right there, you know, and that's how a lot of companies, that's how, Facebook and Google, all those companies started with a couple people in the back office, and next thing you know, you never know what's going to happen. So having those connections is very, very important.
And sorry not to drag this out, but I mean, you as mayor, is that something that perhaps you're going to do? Get out there as mayor on behalf of the people of Boston, make those connections, because maybe we don't see an awful lot of that from those posts in the States.
Well, you have to. I mean, as mayor of Boston, my job is to make sure that we go out there and market the city the best we can. And when I was here in this trip, I tried to talk about tourism and inviting people to Boston, and also around business development and making sure that they know Boston's open. And I think that that's an important piece here. Part of me as mayor of the Boston, I'm also ambassador of the city.
And finally, as Mayor of Boston, and maybe just flying the Irish flag for a moment, what would you say to people who haven't been to Ireland? What can they expect in this country?
Oh, go over to Ireland. Ireland's a great place. You just never know when you go from village to village, city to city, town to town. It's so different. And yesterday when we were driving from Dublin, we left Dublin, busy streets, through the heart of the country. We got to Galway City, a little quieter than Dublin, and then the rural west out in Connemara. So you get a lot of opportunities. People don't understand. The food's incredible, the people are incredible, some of the hotels and the restaurants. It really is great, and just I would encourage people to come visit Ireland at least once. And if you golf, you're absolutely going to love it here. The golf courses are incredible. We drove by them. I didn't golf on them, but they looked good.
And the All-Ireland final, a key part of that culture.
The All-Ireland final, 86,000 people in Croke Park the other day to see Kilkenny versus Tipperary in the hurling final. And then the week before, we're here for the Kerry. Kerry won the football against Donegal. So, when you think about sports and sports fanatics, 86,000 stadium is big, if not bigger than most of the United States stadiums.
Mayor, thank you very much.
Thank you.